Recalculating Route, a show about taking a new direction with your life. Here's your host, Christy Atwood.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and all ships at sea. It is that wonderful time of week again. Yes, it is time for Recalculating Route. And while we say we have the show a purpose for it, we don't always really have a purpose for it. But today we do. Today we're actually talking about a very important topic. Today we're talking about cyberbullying. You know, it used to be in the way old days, like Sarah and I would remember, that the bullies picked on you on the playground. They threw the dodgeball at you, and that was bullying, you know? And nowadays, we've given the bullies keyboards and the internet, and so it's a little bit different thing. So cyberbullying is our topic for today. And my guests are, how about if y'all introduce yourself? Sarah, say hi.
Hi, I'm Reverend Sarah Whitten-Grigsby, Interfaith.
Yay. And Nathan?
I'm Nathan Barnaba.
All right. And?
Kimberly Broussard.
Awesome. These wonderful folks are going to help enlighten us a little bit about cyberbullying, because actually I know next to nothing except that I get upset on Facebook sometimes and in the comments on YouTube. So that's the extent of the bullying that I see. I wanted to find out more about this. And Nathan actually gave us some ideas here, because he said there's a lot of different kinds of cyberbullying. And so how about enlightening us on that, Nate?
So yeah, you're correct. There's multiple types of cyberbullying, but it's all done with the same intent to hurt someone. It's like you're going out of your way to harm someone or attack them, and it can kind of it starts to hurt the other person. And after doing research, I didn't realize that there was like 40 different types. Oh. So yes, so I'm going to talk about the top 4.
Okay.
So the first one is exclusion. So that's whenever you could have a group of friends and there's an outside person who's cool with the group of friends, and they kind of exclude you from that friend. So let's say you're commenting with your friend about something on social media, they'll like say something about you to your friend, or they'll like block you intentionally, like not interact with you so you feel left out. Ooh. Or they can make comments like, I don't know why you like this dummy, or just things like that. And that's one of them. The second one is harassment. And that's whenever, you kind of just attack someone. There's actually apps that people sign up for that can write on people's social media accounts nasty comments every hour. And people actually pay for it. Yes.
Are you serious?
Yes. I just found this out today. People pay for it to be attacked. Another one is masquerading. That's when people create fake accounts. Oh. They kind of act like they're your friend. They try to get your secrets, and then they could either act like they're your friend, or they can get your secrets, be close to you, and just expose you to everyone or whatever you have going on. Maybe they could out you with your sexuality, whatever it is. They try to get close to you to just expose you and hurt you personally. And the last one is the one that we're all familiar with: trolling. People who purposely go out of their way to just say the most off the wall things to get a reaction out of you, because that's the goal. The goal is to cause some type of disturbance where you can just let loose and avoid them, argue with them like nonstop.
And so that gives them their thrill.
Yes, they love trolling. It's like a game for them.
That's what the thing that my husband had found the information on. That's the same sort of thing, because it was like they did this survey, 418 participants. Yes, I have my statistics. And they said that of those people, 59% said they actively comment on websites. Among those, nearly a tenth admitted their favorite activity was trolling other users. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It makes me a little sad though, because in my mind, I'm thinking, do you know how sad and miserable you have to be to try to invoke negativity onto someone else, or even have the time to purchase an app to put negative things? I think it's a little form of projecting. Like you're projecting your feelings onto someone else, so you're gonna bully them because you're unhappy inside, and it makes me sad.
So I learned a saying this week when I was reeling from some cyberbullying, which we'll discuss later. And my seminary classmate and friend, Reverend Max, said that it is a saying in therapy, if you hurt, you hurt. Meaning, if you are hurting, then you set out to hurt other people, which of course makes perfect sense. I hadn't heard that particular saying, but that's very much what you just said, Kim. They're wretched, and so they are making others wretched. That's how bullies are.
What a perfect saying, though. If you hurt, you hurt. Oh, wow. Okay. And we're seeing so much of that. We're seeing it all over the place. And when it becomes that common that it has this many names and different types and all that, you know, it's an issue that needs to be dealt with. And it starts as early as the elementary school days. Now, Kimberly, you have a son in school, and they actually have things happen like this, don't they?
Yes, they it was via text messaging. It wasn't it started because of something that was on social media, and then it turned into text messaging, and it was a group of them, and they learned some really valuable lessons. Once they learned that, you know, your words can hurt really deep. Two, they learned that you to be kind and watch what you say. And they learned that text messaging, it could last forever. Once you put it out there, it's there. It's there. And with social media, that once you put it out there, it's there. I mean, think about cancel culture now. Think about people who have said mean things 20 years ago or 10 years ago, and they're finding that information and putting it out there. So it's important for you to be mindful. That's why I don't even engage in social media. And I mean engage, but I don't comment under anything, because I don't want, you know, those that are trolls, as you call them. I don't have time to engage. We can agree to disagree. I don't need to put my comment on there. I know how I feel about the situation in my head, and I'm moving on. But I think it's different for kids because they grew up in social media. Like I'm okay. I tried it out where I got off of apps and I was clean for 7 days. And so I don't think that my child at his age, in his teenage, he's a teenager or preteen, sorry. I don't think that he would be able to do the same. And so they grew up, like he's been having an iPad or technologies since he was 3. So it's a second nature for them. And I don't think that they realize the dangers of it, whether it is, you know, dealing with cyberbullying, whether it is dealing with the dangers of predators out there. Like there's so many things that are happening. And so some things that parents can do to stop cyberbullying, and it's some things that I try. I was very apprehensive about letting my son engage in social media at all. And so we came to a negotiation, and he could have a particular app, but he had to turn off the comments so that he didn't have to engage with anyone, and you know, he wouldn't have to read any comments or deal with cyberbullying. And that's something that you could do. Something else is keep the computer in a common area of the home. You know, don't allow it in their bedroom, and monitor their online usage. That's something that I have done until he recently turned into a preteen, and now I monitor it without him knowing. But I'm not saying that's what you should do. It's not everything that I'm providing for you guys. It's whatever works for you as a parent. So you pick and choose what you want to do. I'll also talk regular and specifically with your children about online issues. If you have a great open line of communication with your child, it's great for you to sit down and talk to them about, you know, those online issues and cyberbullying, what it looks like, what does cyberbullying looks like, and so that way they understand. Something else is to tell your child not to respond to any of their cyber threats and to let you know immediately. And when they do let you know immediately, don't be dismissive as in, oh, you know what, just ignore them. Because, you know, I don't think ignoring them works anymore. I think it just fuels them. They're like, oh, yes, let me, you know, keep going. And so it's important that you try to take care of it the first time that it happens, because it might escalate. And it also says, don't overreact by blaming your child. You know, if they are being bullied, you know, try to be supportive and understanding, and you know, find out how long it's been happening, try to get as much information. And if it's happening with kids at school, you know, please use those resources for the teachers, the principal, go and talk to them, and, you know, set up a meeting. If you know who the child is, set up a meeting with their parents and the principal so that you guys can go ahead and take care of that.
Okay. Yeah, I guess the thing that amazes me now is to realize that these kids, the things they do say, whether it's on a text or any social media, stays with them forever, like you're talking about. And I think about when we were younger and things we said, you know, I can't imagine having that come back to haunt you. But everything you put on social media, it stays there. Even if you remove it, somebody's got it. It's somewhere, you know, and that is a scary thought. And so trying to work with kids to understand the impact of their words, like you're talking about, but also trying to have an open conversation with them. So you're continually talking about it and making sure they understand this is not something you need to worry about. This is not something, you know, helping them not react to stuff instead of responding.
Right. And I think it's a learning opportunity for everyone involved, because I know there were some incidents in his class where you know, where there was cyberbullying and bullying within group text messages. And not only did the parents sit down with the children, but the principal also sat down, and the teachers sat down with the entire class and talked to them about cyberbullying, what that looks like, what it is, what you can do to prevent it, and also, you know, reiterating to be kind to others, because it started off with the disagreement. And it's okay for you to disagree. Everyone doesn't need to be on the same page. That's what makes us all unique. It's okay for us to disagree, but it's when you take it a step further and keep on engaging in that conversation and escalating by attacking them with your words versus attacking, you know, the disagreement.
Yeah.
That's when the issue escalates. And, you know, there was an incident where one of the kids, you know, had said, you know, go kill yourself. And they didn't really mean it in that way. They would just, when you're angry and you're having a disagreement, you say things that you sometimes that you don't mean. And some people do mean it, but I know the kid didn't mean it at this point. But it was a very good eye opener and a learning lesson that your words can hurt. And you have to be mindful on how to express your feelings without attacking someone.
I'm glad your school is so proactive in addressing that.
Yeah.
I don't think they're all that good.
No. And another thing that I want to mention for parents out there as well is that, you know, I said, you know, get the school involved. But if they are threatening physical harm, or, you know, it's something, any type of threat to your children, you know, then you need to get the police involved as well.
Okay, that's time to step in.
It's time to step in.
Okay, good information. Okay, this is really, I'm getting it. I'm getting a better picture of it now. Okay, so Nate gave us the idea of the different kinds. Kim talked about it in the schools. Sarah, you've experienced it in the adult world.
Yeah. So very recently, I have a small animal rescue. We place homeless hospice dogs, and we're only 5 years old, and we've never had, until very recently, any negativity, let alone cruelty, you know, evil comments, any of that. So recently we were horribly, horribly cyberbullied. And in this case, there was someone who disagreed with something we had done, but didn't have any of the information. She didn't know anything about us, certainly didn't know anything about me, and didn't even have all the information about the dog. But I began seeing angry comments in Business Suite, which is, Facebook's private message, or I'm not even sure what the heck it is, but it just appeared one day on my computer. But in any event, we had just taken on a new volunteer who's very young and very proactive and very savvy about social media, more than I am. And I'm no slouch, but I am not young. So she knows a lot more than I know. So in any event, she began to field these terrible kinds of comments. I didn't even see all of them because at least I was wise enough to know not to look. And it was a thing where somebody posted a damaging comment about us on their site, and then that person took it to that person, and that person spread it through a network that apparently goes across the country, so that there were people responding from other states other than Florida. And I don't know how extensive it was, but it was damaging. And even if it wasn't ultimately damaging to the rescue, because people who know us have total faith in us, it was damaging to me because I'm a hyper empath. And I took it so hard, I stopped eating. I got sick with stress and anxiety. I felt devastated. I don't do well with injustice. And after what we've done in 5 years, to have somebody start ripping into us over something, it was just grotesquely unfair. So subsequently, we discovered that this particular woman and her sort of sidekick, I'm not sure, there were 2 women, that they do this, that they're notorious for doing this. They've done it to other rescues, and they've been banned from some, not from all social media, but they've been banned from some stuff, and they've been banned from working with certain shelters.
Wow.
So when this began, our new young volunteer said to me, we have got to respond because silence can be interpreted as some sort of guilt or wrongdoing. So I said, okay, absolutely. And I sent a message to this one woman basically saying, what are you doing? You're damaging an excellent little rescue, And she, I believe, has her own small rescue. And all we could think was, if she loves dogs, then why is she expending her energies on being mean and illogical and damaging to a rescue that's has really helped homeless hospice dogs? So in any event, I sent her one message. It was not nasty or mean. I just was like, what's your problem? I couldn't believe it. And I said, your time would be better spent being compassionate. That was my main thing. And I thought, I hope she posts that. And I later heard that she had posted it. And I thought anyone who is intelligent and sensitive and compassionate will appreciate what I wrote. So I was delighted that she posted it. But in any event, I then did some research on cyberbullying because I had never experienced it. Of course, I knew that it could be terribly damaging. And I discovered that everything I read said, do not engage. So we had engaged, right? And this volunteer was fielding everything. She engaged big time in a good way. I mean, she would say things like, well, then, can you help the dog? Instead of being horrible. In any event, and finally she said, we are not going to, this is it. We're going to block you and we're not going to respond anymore. But in the meantime, I had done this research that said, don't engage, because as you said, Kim, trolls and cyberbullies feed on that. And it is indeed very sad. I feel, I guess, or I should feel some compassion for these people that got so carried away with ripping us apart. And of course, the other thing is, you know, they don't know, it doesn't matter, but they don't know that I had just spent 8 months fighting for my life. I was just surfacing, literally finishing radiation that week when all this happened. And I wanted to celebrate, and I was going to do a little celebrating with a friend, you know, in Maine, my longest time friend, just a change of scenery. And it came with me, and there were nasty messages while I was there.
Oh.
I just stopped eating. So, I mean, it is so damaging. And there is a piece of me that wants revenge, which is a terrible thing to say. And it's very unministerial. And I'm not going to seek revenge. But there is a part of me that, you know, would like to take them to task for it, because they'll continue to do it to other people and cause damage, and they're causing damage to dogs that would be rescued by us if they're going to beat us to a pulp so that we have to shut down or whatever. So in any event, I think it's very important, you know, gird up your loins, as we used to say.
Yes.
Be prepared not to let it get to you. I totally let it get to me.
Mhm.
I think next time I wouldn't. But this was the first time, and I felt as if somebody was trying to stab me to death.
It's,
But I
it's
think,
sad.
Sarah, that's easier said than done, though. When you said don't let it get to you, that's easier said than done, because you feel attacked. And I know if I were you, well, I would feel that, okay, this is something that I worked so hard for, and I'm very compassionate, and what are you doing? And so it's easier said than done. But I do find comfort in knowing that everything eventually, that karma, I believe in karma.
Right.
And so I wouldn't even, you know, think about the you know, revenge part, because eventually it's going to happen.
Right.
And
right.
so, you know, how you treat other people, eventually that's how you're going to be treated.
Absolutely.
And so it's just, I love what you said about the not engaging, because I know if she's that malicious, that me going back and forth with her wouldn't benefit either one of us. And it's interesting that they said that silence is what did you say? Silence is
as, you know, guilt, or if
guilt.
you respond, that they're going to use that too.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Right, right. And I understood that and believed it, partly because I'd never dealt with this before, but I thought that's right. If we just recede and we don't defend ourselves, they're going to say, see, they're, you know. And so, but I knew to be careful not to get into the hatred. I felt I needed to scold this person, which
Yeah.
she's murdering me, and I'm going, shame on you. That was, you know, but I didn't want it to get uglier than that. But yeah, I mean, I think it takes conditioning. I think if it happened again, at least I would know not to engage at all. And the only intelligent thing I did was that I didn't look at the comments, but unfortunately some of them were conveyed to me, and they were so horrible, like God hates you.
Oh God.
I mean, and I take that, that hurts, even though I may think, no, God doesn't. No.
Yeah, you know better.
It's stuff for a really long, you know, but it's still, there's something about it that's incredibly painful, I think, because it's unjust, you know?
Yep.
So in any event, yeah, so I think even though you might want to say at least one thing to defend yourself, they will feed off whatever you say, because it's a, you know, it's a disturbance.
That's what they're trying to get. They're trying to get a response.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something within themselves, and I'm glad I don't have any comments. I'm glad I don't do comments. There's no way my little heart can take it. There's no way. I know what I'm built for, and it's not. That's not it.
That's very well said. And that's another thing, you know, that there's self-protection. And of course, a form of self-protection is to just turn away from it. Just, you know, it's what Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go high.
Right.
Right. I didn't go high right away because I had to go.
You know, in this survey they did, some of the things that people said that really just scare you. It's the more beautiful and pure a thing is, the more satisfying it is to corrupt. So they like to troll on those very wonderful little posts. That's when they attack so often. And some of them said they actually sent people to shock websites just for the fun of it. You know, I'm like, that's scary.
That is very scary.
Yeah. So, Nathan, did you have some other information when you were talking about some of those things? Did they have suggestions with the different kinds of cyberbullies, things to do?
Yeah, before I get to that, I just want to say, like, one of my mantras when it comes to social media and things like that, because it partially happened to me. My partner and I got married last year, and Kim knows the story, but this girl I went to school with had shared our wedding picture and had wrote like this horrible paragraph, and the comments were horrible. And I kind of felt like you, Sarah, like I wanted to just rip into her, but I didn't. And what I kept telling myself was, energy grows where your attention goes. So if I was giving her that attention, it's like it's what she wanted.
Yep.
So I do believe in karma, and I do believe that it's going to come, but I truly understand like those feelings of like you just want to hand it to them.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, Nathan, now that I forgot about that incident, I didn't want you to take the high road. I was like, type this. You type this.
Yeah.
I didn't say that.
That's hard when they're attacking you personally, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. But it's hard not to. I mean, you know, not to have revenge fantasies, but indeed, all of these trolls, and I am purposely putting people into one basket right now. All of these trolls, all of these cyberbullies that are spending their time spreading hatred and damage, they are attention seekers. A lot of them. I mean, there are some, I'm sure, that are remaining anonymous, but definitely they want attention. So they're going to do outrageous stuff to get attention. So if you that takes the wind out of their sails.
I can't speak for, you know, kids 13 and over 13, but to me it seems like the adults are worse than the kids when it comes to cyberbullying, because I know with that incident that happened at my son's school, you know, everybody apologized, you know, and one wrote an apology letter, and you know they're back to what, like, it never happened.
Yes.
Cool.
And I think adults don't know when to humble themselves and say, I'm sorry. We don't do that as often anymore.
Right.
We're more concerned about winning the argument than we are about being kind.
Yeah.
I've actually discovered that one of our hospice guardians, which is what we call the volunteers with whom we place the dogs, and then we, you know, sponsor their medical. One of my hospice guardians was harassed by these same women when they saw something on her Facebook page about one of her dogs and totally misinterpreted it. So she came to visit with her hospice doggie and several other dogs very recently and told me that. And she said, and I reached out to this woman and, you know, got her on the phone and, you know, made nice. And I said, why? You know, what? And she said, you know, that old saying, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. But I said, I would no more get on a phone conversation with this woman than I would, you know, throw myself in front of an oncoming moose. I don't know. But, you know, so rhinoceros. But I mean, I think it's fine that she did that, but not I. I'm not going to engage even in a friendly way, even if it was possible. Don't want that energy anywhere near me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Self-protection.
self-protection. I'm with you on that.
Well, Nathan, what suggestions do you have?
Yeah, so some of the tips, it's more like if this is going on in your friend group, whether you're an adult or a child, it's be an upstander. So if you see something, say something. If you see someone being bullied,
Okay.
report the comment. Don't like it. And maybe even just check in on the person who's being attacked and, you know, let them know that it's okay. They have somebody to talk to. And if we all like kind of do that together, we could make the internet a better place. I know I saw Facebook is really dropping down on people with cyberbullying. You could be joking and they'll put you in Facebook jail now because it's getting that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Limit your sharing online. A lot of times people share their emotional, whatever they're going through emotionally, and they're looking for some type of support from their friends and things. So just make sure you're sharing to an appropriate audience. Yep. Because those trolls and those cyberbullies look for the person who's like going through something. They feel like that's a weak link and they want to take them down. And it's like that's what fuels them. Yeah. So just monitor who you share with. I know on my Facebook, I have friend settings. Only friends can see my things. And that really does help. Yeah. And I monitor who I accept the friend request from.
Yeah.
And just know when to take a break. If you see some comments that make you unhappy or something, it's okay to take a break from social media because, you know, your mental health comes first.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'll see comments and things and I'll have to take a break and get away to like kind of just clear my head because people are mean and they'll leave some horrible comments. And if I keep reading those things, especially during election season and things like that, yes. It's like I need to just clear my mind and get away because it's tough.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think people are bold because they're behind their phone. Yeah. They're more bold because I remember, you know, bullying in school. I remember being in 5th grade and I remember, you know, there was a guy, older guy who used to bully me and I remember just avoiding him and just some of the things that people say, you know, they wouldn't say it to that person's face. Which makes it extra mean. Right, so they're more bold, and it's sad.
There's definite cowardice. There's no question. It's cowardly. If I went and knocked on this person's door, she would probably collapse in a heap before I even went.
Right.
No, not in my house.
Right. And that's just the sad one, you know, just I think not engaging if you can. And, you know, and if you do engage, just try to hit them with kindness. Said, you know, I'm gonna pray for you if you're religious. I know that's what I would say. You know what? I'm gonna pray for you because I know you're hurt and you're just projecting it out on me. And hopefully you get help.
You know, I have had instances where, you know, I have a group that my friends on Facebook, I just love them. We're all really sarcastic, funny, you know, like that. But sometimes it goes too far. And I have had instances where I've had to just delete a comment that somebody has made because I realized it would hurt someone else. And I think we need to be able to do that from time to time. We need to be able to stop and say, you know, okay, am I going too far? Because sometimes, you know, you could joke with somebody just so far before it gets to that point where it's like, okay, now you're just getting mean, you know? So we do have to be careful ourselves because something that we just think of as funny can actually come across as bullying after a certain point.
It sure can. And that's why I don't comment because you guys are not going to say in, you know, 1999 or 2000, Kim said this. No, I didn't. I've never, I didn't.
Not in writing.
It's not in writing. No, I didn't.
It's so important to what Nate said about taking a break for your mental health. I mean, you know, anyone who goes on retreat and goes on a reputable retreat with a good leader is told, leave your computer behind, don't look at your phone, don't watch the news. And it's true. And if you don't, you know, if you can't rejuvenate, and I've now had a chance to rejuvenate mercifully, but, you know, then it is going to affect you deeply because it's cumulative. So take a break.
It makes me wonder about the kids, though. We can take a break because we're not accustomed to being on the internet.
Right.
We've just been introduced. It's been a while, but they've had it their entire lives.
Yeah.
Like when we had a hurricane and the lights went out, my son was dying because he didn't have Wi-Fi. He was dying inside. And here I was, let's play some board games. That's because I'm used to it. We grew up on that. And so I wonder if they'll be able to remove themselves from that negativity.
Yeah, maybe not.
But how will they be able to cope?
And we may not know for years how that actually turns out, how it affects them.
And I'm wondering if that tip about monitoring the time they spend on there, if that will teach them how to not be on it so much and, regroup and reassess.
Now, I think it's a great thing that the phones now tell you how long you've been on social media. To track that just for yourself, because you start realizing, oh my gosh, I spent this much time on there, it's a wonderful thing that we have this. Lord knows, I don't know how we would have made it through the pandemic without social media.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
It's been a blessing.
Yep.
Pandemic.
And the whole thing though is that we still need to get out and actually face a person from time to time. And we don't want to replace real world interactions totally with that. And plus it's an unrealistic view of the world quite often, because people always put their fun, exciting pictures on there. They don't tell us when, they're sick or something like that. They tell us all their fun. I'm going to Rome. I see, I hear. That gives us that feeling that everybody else has this better life than we do. And that's another thing that I worry about for kids, is that they're going to see that and think that, oh gosh, I have to do that because everybody else does the same thing. They all go those big places and stuff. So it's just, there's a lot of repercussions from an online presence from youth that I think we won't see for years to come. We won't realize what happens.
There was an article in the New York Times a couple of years ago, I think, about how sad some social media can make you for all those reasons. And also this Anita Moorjani's book, which I was just given and read, called Sensitive is the New Strong. And she's talking about empaths. And she says the same thing, that you've got to put it away.
Yeah. I agree. I agree, for your own sanity.
Yeah, if you can.
So
if you can.
So we figured out, okay, what have we figured out so far? We figured out that we shouldn't engage when we're being attacked. We don't want to add to it. We should consider removing things if it's on our page that are negative to other people. What else? With children, monitor.
Yeah. Monitor children, and also remind them that words can be incredibly hurtful. Make that part of their daily learning.
And I like what Nathan said in regards to, and I'm not technologically savvy, so help me out. But making sure that you follow close family and friends, and can they and can you monitor or make sure that they're the only ones that can comment on your posts?
You can do your settings. Your privacy settings can go to different levels. And so you can have it public where everybody sees everything, or you can have different levels where only your friends see your comments.
Yeah, and so that is an option.
That's a real good option, especially when you're dealing with kids and all, as they can grow up. Okay, all right. Other suggestions? Okay. I like it. Everybody has their thinking face on. That's cute. I gotta get a freeze of that one sometime. Okay. Yes.
I do have something. So
that was a good one. Okay.
One of the other recommendations that they said for the kids is don't threaten to take away your children's phones or computers if they come to you with a problem. If there is an issue with cyberbullying or something, don't threaten to take away their phone, because then kids tend to be more secretive.
Oh, that would make
Mm.
sense. And it's punishing them for something that somebody else might be doing to them. So
Yep.
that's double punishment. That's not fair.
Yep.
Oh, that's a really good point. Okay. All right. My other comment would be whenever there's a live press conference on Facebook, don't look at the comments. Okay. Just turn comments off. Do not look. There is never a time that anybody puts anything good in the comments under a live press conference, especially if it's a political figure. But that's my big suggestion for the day. I've learned that the hard way. I was like getting so mad for these poor people going, they're just trying to help and you know, tearing them up.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I get a little bit protective of people. Okay, that's mine. Other thoughts?
I know it's Sarah said it, I know it's easier said than done, but try not to let it affect you or take it so personally, because it's probably has nothing to do with you, and it's all about them, how
Right.
they're feeling there. Because you know how in customer service, when someone comes in and they chew you out for a service that you're providing, and and they come back and said, oh, it's me, I was having a bad day. Well, it's kind of like that, where it's something within their lives that makes them so miserable. Like Sarah said, they when you're hurt, you hurt.
Mhm.
And so it really it's not you, but you do have to block them. Once that they show that side, it's because it's going to become toxic if you just let it keep happening.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Mhm. And I would say just raise awareness any way you can. I mean, you both are really, Nate and Kim, and you know, you for the kids, and you from your experience after your marriage, Nate.
Mhm.
You know, just let people know. I mean, I've talked about this to all of my close friends in the last couple of weeks, and it's been really eye-opening for them. But many of them have had at least one, you know, one minor episode where somebody said something nasty on social media. So, I mean, I think just to be aware and to raise awareness whenever you can, that it is so damaging, and how to, you know, do everything you can to protect yourself.
And please remember, you can disagree without being nasty. You
Mhm.
you know, it's okay.
Yeah.
We all have different opinions, and that's okay. Step away. Yeah.
And something else that I want to say, if you do find yourself saying something hurtful, because we're all human, things happen. Even the nicest person says something, you know, has a bad day where they say something mean. But if you find yourself saying something mean, be kind and say, I'm sorry. Apologize for that. I think that's what sets us apart from the kids, is that we don't know how to say I'm sorry. We're so focused on that win, and it's not about the win. It's not about the win.
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah. And I do want to say, like, if you're comfortable with the person, if you see a friend being attacked, report the comment and check in, because they might not comment on the post, but they could still see it and be affected.
Yep.
And you never know what somebody's going through. So just reach out.
Exactly.
That's right.
You never know what somebody's going through.
Yep.
Thank you. That is such a good point. I mean, it may look like they let it roll off, but maybe they do need you to check in because they're hurt.
Mhm.
I like that.
Y'all are so good. I am so impressed with. I mean, I learned a lot today.
Go on.
Me too. Me too. I think this was a great topic. A great topic
Yeah.
that, you know, for people to know that, because I didn't even know there were different types of bullying. I didn't know that.
Yep.
Nate has an entire list if you ever want to know all of them.
Oh, I know, right? All 40. I would need, you know, a weekend to go through all that material with your statistics and Nathan's list.
But I cannot thank y'all enough for being here and talking about this today. Y'all have been fabulous. I really enjoyed the talk, and I hope y'all come back and do it again.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for inviting us.
Y'all.
Thank you, Kim. So good to meet you.
You
Same
too,
here.
Sarah.
Same here.
Yes. All right. Well, happy evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us for Recalculating Route. We hope to see you next time. Take care. And until then, have a good time. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Recalculating Route. Join us next Wednesday evening at 6 Central